Hello, welcome to Paxton Road TV, the Paxton Road TV reaction show. I'm Sam, Spurs for life. And this is the game. West Ham United 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Game's just finished at the London Stadium, whatever you want to call it, West Ham's ground. Oh, God, I don't care what they call it. Before we start, like, subscribe, share, comment. All those things help us get those likes, get them views up. We're over 1,000 subscribers now, so thank you for all your support. Unfortunately, we have to support this team as well, and this is why this is another therapy session. I'm joined in the house by Hotspur Hustler, Darius 3K, Sid Spurs, and Sean H. Welcome, guys. Welcome, guys. Let's get on with this. What would you say about the performance? Let's start with you, Darius. You called it. You called it yesterday, so we're no doubt to start with you first. What was your thoughts on what was a poor game in terms of a quality of game? Both teams didn't look great, but yeah, they got the win. That's all that matters. So what was your thoughts?
I'm not even going to gloat. I'm not even going to say I told you so. I'm not. There's nothing in me that's sort of happy about what happened. It's just predictable. I just know what to expect from Tottenham now. It was sorry about the noise. It was a bad performance on both sides. It was lackluster. It seemed like there was no plan B. It seemed like we were trying to attempt one thing, and that was sort of play the ball through the middle. Kane dropping way too deep at times. If I'm going to really call out performances, and I don't want to, Harry Kane had an absolutely awful performance, in my opinion. I thought he was one of the worst players on the pitch. Didn't seem like he cared, even for the goal. Again, some people might say Lucas could have won the header, but I don't think you should be conceding a corner from a guy sticking a leg out. It's just unforgivable, in my opinion. Harry Kane didn't make any effort to try and win that ball. The whole team just seemed like they didn't have an idea on how to sort of break that line. And as soon as West Ham scored, they were going to bring on that third defender and they were going to shut up shop. So we had to score first to sort of have any chance of winning, and we didn't. And like I said, it's predictable now. I expect this from Tottenham Hotspur. I don't expect us to sort of go out and really take games by the neck. So this is why I knew this loss was going to come. 0 shots in the second half. Embarrassing, in my opinion. I'm beginning to start to think, and in pre-season I thought that Nuno could coach a coherent attack, but each game goes by and it just seems like there's absolutely no plan B. It doesn't seem like the players know where to move. There's not any proactiveness in sort of the decisions made on the bench or the players on the pitch. It just seems like there's no idea. And I've been tired of it, but again, I'm used to it now and I expect it. So I am actually not that angry. I expected this loss. I predicted the loss. We didn't even score, so I can't really say anything. It's typical Tottenham now, and that's a bad thing. So
you say there was no plan B. There was not even a plan A today. That's what was worse for me. There was not even a plan A. You could quite easily see West Ham off the ball, 4-4-2, quite compact, play wide. That's what they were telling us to do, play in wide areas, try and create some overloads. We didn't do that at all. We kept on persisting. Our opportunities came from when we did play wide. If you remember the opportunity we had, it's when the ball went wide and we got the crosses. This continual trying to play through the middle of a team who are very, very organized, very compact, was just a mission that was always going to end in failure unless you do some really intricate stuff. The final third from both teams was awful anyway. But the fact is we didn't even try to change that. So you're right, plan B, but not even a plan A. The plan A was stinky in the first place anyway. We can't complain about the team. We can't complain about we played the midweek with that team because none of them players played. They didn't look like they had any energy. They weren't prepared to another London derby. This is the problem, what I've seen with 3-4 London derbies now that we've played. There doesn't seem to be any determination. That little bit of a spat that Romero had was the only bit of anger.
And I absolutely love that.
And I don't know what he got a yellow card for. You're not allowed to talk to a player on the ground these days. That don't make any sense. He was the best player.
He was the best player for us, by the way. Just to say that, I thought he was by far the best player on the pitch for us.
He stepped in. He won the ball. He was aggressive. He carried the ball forward. So from a one person's perspective, I would say he had a good game. Mike, talk to me about the game. I don't know if there's much more that can be added to that, but what's your thoughts?
I don't even know what else you can say, really. I thought the back line played well. I thought they were solid today. All of them. Dyer, I know we've given Dyer some stick, but I thought to be fair to him, I thought him and Romero, I thought Emerson and Reggie, I'd say overall defensively, it was much better today than perhaps what we've seen during other games this season so far. Reggie, I think sometimes his final ball. Again, the issue for me today was our final ball was just
Awful.
terrible. Like literally, it's so bad. It's like I was watching the game and there's a couple of times and I was shouting like Kane when he had that. Tried to put that ball through to Son when he was going in on goal. The final ball was just crap. Just wasn't good enough. That is what killed us today. We could have won that game. If our final ball, like Kane to Son, there was a couple of other instances I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know there's like 2 or 3 instances where if our final ball was better, we could have killed that game today. We could have won. We could have comfortably won that game today if our final ball was better, and it wasn't. It was just terrible.
Also, decision making as well. Romero, I remember specifically, Romero had an opportunity where he could have played left to Sonny and decided to play right to Kane. And there was a couple of times that happened where if the right pass was made, there was a lot of space for a one-on-one to happen. So I agree with you. Just sorry, carry on.
West Ham didn't make it easy. The way they played, they didn't make it easy. So if you're going to play through the middle of them, you're going to have to be very, very intricate. And I don't mind you trying that sort of thing to see if it comes off once or twice. But when it's continuously not coming off, right, you got to think to yourself, Lucas Moura, because we've got Lucas Moura and Son and Kane, both Lucas Moura and Son want to come infield because they're inverted as such. Lucas Moura definitely was. So that to me is an obvious thing. Your fullbacks then have to really keep wide, stay high, because we had the possession. If we look at the stats, we had 60-something% possession. So we didn't not have the ball. And that's what I keep saying. When you have the ball, you can dictate what you do. I know we had a lot of possession in our defensive half, but we still progressed the ball upfield well. But like Michael said, when you got into that final third, after that, it was just wrong decisions, trying to do things through 4 players. You know what I mean? You cannot do that with a team that is built to defend. They are built. David Moyes is known for his defensive qualities, and it showed today. They didn't play well, but they did enough because they were at home and they knew that they just had to dig in there, get some opportunities, and they got it from a set piece, which was, like I said, a criminal goal to give away from our perspective. Sean, what's your thoughts? I know you was watching in the pub somewhere. Did the pub go quiet? What was happening there for you?
Well, unfortunately, when you're in Glasgow, the pubs are more dominated by people watching the game between St Mirren and Rangers. But the small coterie of Spurs fans were saying exactly what you were saying. We were just poor. I mean, 4 London derbies, 4 defeats.
10 goals conceded, 1 goal scored. That's the record we've got in the 4 London.
It's just not good enough.
Awful. That's awful.
Like these London derbies. Sorry, Sean, but it just pisses me off. How are we losing to West Ham? How are we losing to Crystal Palace? How are we losing to Arsenal? These teams are crap. Right? It just goes to show how bad we are at the moment. If we can't beat these teams, we're done out here. We are. There's just no excuses for it. How do we lose a game by the flick of he just flicked his foot out and he's hit it in the bottom corner. You could argue, it was fluke and it was luck. Yeah, it was. But I'd rather us lose. I don't know. I'd rather us get beat soundly. At least we've been beaten soundly rather than just by a flick of the foot and it's just gone in. It's terrible. It's terrible.
It's not.
There's no urgency either, Sam. There's no urgency. Like the back line, the back 6, in fact, not including Lloris, but the back 6 players, I thought was solid today. I thought they dealt with the pressure. They dealt with the attacks of West Ham quite comfortably in all respect to them. But once they've given the ball to the forward players, the front 4 they're just lethargic. You wouldn't have thought it's like a training game. We've mentioned
that. What can that be down to? Because we cannot use fatigue as an excuse. We cannot use the fact that we're going off the back of a poor run in terms of Premiership games because we won the last 2. Do you know what I'm saying? We won the last 2. We played pretty decently, although not the greatest game against Newcastle, but we played all right against Aston Villa as well. And these players had a rest from playing in the week. What I don't understand is yes, the back line played well. I think the back line did all right. And I think, the goal come from a combination of errors, the mistake from Regular and obviously Kane not doing enough. Yeah. But our 2 holding midfielders did really well. I've got no problem being Skip or Højbjerg. But what I do have a problem with is they still try to, once we pick the ball back up, we still try to play through this middle. And I don't know how obvious it could be. I just kept saying in the group chat, Just play wide, create overloads. Even if you're creating 2v2s, what it would then do is make one of their centre backs maybe come out to create the 3v2 in their favour. And once you do that, then you start creating more space in the middle. They never did that once. Their two centre backs never came out of their position because they didn't have to.
But if you're going to play through the middle, you've got to do it quicker. It's almost like 1-2 touch maximum. You can't just have one touch, hold it for 5-10 seconds, invite a challenge in, and then release it. You've got to be like thinking one step ahead. If you're going to play through the middle, you've got to know where your pass is before the ball's even arrived to your feet. And that's not Lucas. Lucas isn't going to do that. Son, I mean, he kept coming inside. It's just frustrating. A frustrating day because West Ham did not look good today at all. I'm sorry.
They didn't. Sean, I don't know if you want to say anything more. Apologies. Me and Mike were doing a bit of ranting there, and I hate ranting, but sometimes it's just have to do it. But sorry, what do you want to think?
I'll try and bring a voice of reason, but it's very difficult on a day like today. I think, as we've rightly identified, all the problems were in the forward part of our field. The final passes were poor, but then there were some great examples. There was a brilliant pass from Skip, which bisected the left back, but it was Emerson's. Emerson's delivery was just poor again. Reguilon probably created most of our chances today, but then of course he's responsible for the goal that we've conceded. For me, the shock was that I don't know what happened to Sonny after he missed that one-on-one in the first half. It seemed to play on his mind, and I just thought his touch and control was not at its usual self. He seemed to have lost a yard in pace. I just felt he wasn't the same player. I mean, he's normally fired up for West Ham because of the previous, social media abuse he suffered from those so-and-sos. Keep it polite. But no, I mean, two bad teams, actually. West Ham were not much better, but it was, they took a chance and we didn't. My only questions would be, I don't know what the rest of you think, but the substitutions were strange. I thought Tanguy was the only one who was the only one trying to pass through the line.
He had a good game, to be fair to him. Like I say, good game. He had a decent game.
But I thought he had a reasonable game, and I was surprised that he was hooked. As Sam said earlier, I think we should have taken one of the defensive midfielders off and put Lo Celso and Tanguy in just to sort of vary it up. Hill is obviously not strong enough to compete in the Premier League.
But it's not fair for him though as well, though. When you bring him on with 7 minutes to go, that's not fair. And expect him to then come on and do something. He ain't going to do it in 7 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? Nuno's got to look at these things earlier. He didn't make any substitution because he's like, we're 0-0 here. As soon as they scored, that's it. It should be bam, I'm on this. Take off one of the defensive midfielders. He took off Reguilon. Reguilon was one of our best outlets on that left-hand side. So that didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Take off a midfielder to then create more, to maybe go to, a 4-2-4 or something like that. The substitutions are pants, in my opinion. Sorry, Sid, we haven't come to you, and I know. Anyway, Sid, what was your thoughts on the game?
I think, to be fair, right, you got to give credit to West Ham. They probably had a game plan. They weren't at their best, yes, but I knew that goal was going to come because that clearance, but Reguilon should have cleared it anyway, and then he goes for a deflected corner. Kane again. It's a good cross in, but Kane should be looking at. He's got to be more observant. He's got to be more on it, and he wasn't. But second half, not one shot on goal. We didn't even get anywhere near the goal. We didn't even create anything second half.
Sorry to interrupt you, Sid. Sorry to interrupt you, but that is the third time this season that we've had 0 shots on goal in the second half. Third time this season.
Thing is, how long does this go on for? Like, how long do we? If that's going to be like a continuing pattern in the second half for Spurs, how long does that go on before question marks are asked about him? You can't keep.
I think the question marks are there now. The question marks are there now because they showed a stat that showed the difference between the goals that we scored and the goals we conceded. So the goals we conceded in the second half was really high, and the goals we score in the second half was really low. That combination is not one that's going to sustain us going forward in any way, shape, or form. Because all teams have to do is be tight in the first half. If that was to continue, you get 0-0 to Spurs, and you're going to beat them because they're not going to. 3 games we've not had a shot on goal. Not even a shot on target, a shot on goal. That's unforgivable from any level of football. That's unforgivable. Really and truly.
One goal and 4 bloody London derbies.
I mean, look, think about this, right? Let me just flip this back to last season. Yeah, we were 3-0 up against West Ham. Yeah, in the 83rd minute we were 3-0 up, and we ended up drawing 3-3. We've gone 1-0 down in the 83rd minute, and we have shown no passion. We've just passing the ball around the whole of the back area. They're not even interested in going forward. We were 1-0 down.
So
we're not even looking. We're not in that last 7
no
minutes.
urgency.
We actually get anything into nothing whatsoever. And it was just like we was winning 1-0, and we were just wanting to pass the ball around. There was a couple of glimpses of urgency, but after that, it was pants. And the worst thing is, like, and we've already mentioned, 4 London derbies, we've scored 1, let in 10, and
we would have been better today in that last once that goal went in, 10 minutes, we would have been better off just pumping that ball into their box and just crowding the 18-yard box out.
But it's like you say, the decision making.
Sorry, the simplest thing in football is just to throw that. Go on, Darius. Sorry, I'm done.
All I was going to say is what you said about the substitutions. I mean, when cool 0-0, you don't make a sub. I understand that, but we conceded and we didn't make a sub. And then even when we did make a sub, it was Lo Celso coming on, and then Brian Hill only came on like sort of, he wasn't meant to come on with Lo Celso. He came on just afterwards. So for me, like you said, if you bring off, in my opinion, Lucas had a horrible game today. Lucas had to come off earlier. And then we did have to bring off one of those DMs. Skip probably had to be. Unfortunately, we didn't, like you said, it's cool we not showing any attacking intent for the whole game, but you can turn things around with your substitutions, and you can sort of bring back a little bit of impetus with the substitution. And it was like he didn't want to even do that, and that's what's concerning me now. Like I've been really calm, and I sort of didn't give Jose any time, and I'm looking at sort of the way we're performing and playing, and it's worse. It is worse. In all fairness, it is worse. And the difference is I don't see sort of our best players carrying us through results anymore. That's not happening anymore.
Look at these stats, and you'd think you look at this as an away performance, and you might think, oh, that looks all right. 63%, 7 shots, 4 on target. They had 13 shots.
That was all in the first half.
That's first half. That's all first
shots
half.
were in the first half.
Do you know what I mean? So when you look at a second half performance in a London derby, if you take that away, that's unforgivable. But we've seen it not once, not twice, not even 3 times. We've seen it 4 times in the first quarter. Come on, lads. There's something
you only have to go back as far as Newcastle. We didn't have a shot in the second half in that game.
Crystal Palace only won 1 game this season. That is against us.
Well, standard, isn't it? What did I say to you guys this week? You remember what I said was it yesterday or the day before? If we don't win this game, especially after resting them 11 players, there's problems.
There's big problems.
Big problems. And this just proves now that the winning team last week, he should have played them on Thursday. He didn't. We lost. Then he rested them and played them this week. We lost. All this training mode business during the whole week. We had 5 sessions of training. I call them monkeys. Training and playing a game is completely different. Had they had played on Thursday, they would have had some match fitness at least. Yeah, because
you can always bring them off, can't you? Sit at half time.
Exactly.
Win the game, bring them off.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Bring the game, bring them off. At least you're coming into a Sunday's game after playing on Thursday. Yeah. Now, remember last season when we used to play in Europe on Thursdays? We were shit on Sundays. West Ham are the opposite. They're coming in after European football and they're winning games. So we can't keep hiding under excuses. You know what? We give so many excuses, mate. We must have books of excuses week in, week out.
We've got an encyclopedia worth of excuses for players and manager.
On Thursday night, we were saying that the 11 that went to Arnhem should never be, in the first team. But now you have to say, well, what about the 11 that supposedly turned up today? You're now starting to think. I mean, we beat a Villa team which is actually falling down the table. I didn't realise how much they'd fallen. We beat Newcastle, who should be relegated on their form. But other than that, we don't seem to be able to compete with the teams. We are never ever going to get back into Europe for next season.
Do you think we could even beat Brighton at this point, Sean? Do you even think we could beat Brighton or Brentford or even?
look at the spirit that Brighton showed. 3-0 down at half time and against City in the second half, and with a bit of luck, they could, they might have even recovered that game. But I think this is, there's obviously something seriously
we should
wrong.
Never have lost today. We shouldn't have lost that game today, though.
No,
we should never have lost it.
Both teams were about equal.
Yeah. To me, it was almost two separate teams. I think defensively, we looked all right. I think most of the defenders, I'd even give Eric Dyer. Yeah. Romero definitely played well. I think Emerson on the right. I think he did enough. He could have got forward a little bit more, but they didn't get the ball to him, so that wasn't helping. Reguilon was getting forward. He defensively, as you were saying, Mark, he was better. But the front four today, they didn't look like they were at it. They didn't. Son didn't look like it was on it today.
I think more of them all right.
That's concerning.
I thought Moro was the worst player on the pitch.
You think so?
I thought he was so bad today. I don't know why, but he just, the ball was not sticking. And I just think that Brian, I understand that Brian is he is a weak player and he does need to put on weight, but I do think he would have had more of an impact, or at least sort of make the decision earlier. Like, I don't even mind Lucas starting, but you give him 7 minutes, like you said, Sam. What are you really expecting players to do in 7 minutes time? It's so difficult to change the game.
I think
surely the replacement for Mora is Bergwijn.
It has to be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think we've probably been a little bit harsh on Ndombele today, because I mentioned him being in that front four, but I'm going to take that back. I don't think he was as bad as like Mora or Kane. I actually thought he played all right. He's just his final ball. See what he was trying to do, and I was like, you know what? I don't mind that if. Like, he's got that intent of trying to thread the ball through it. It's just not working. But he was trying today, and he did cover quite a bit of ground. I don't think he was. But
then the substitution, taking him off when he was probably our most progressive player. Again,
problem
doesn't make sense if you've got Højbjerg and Skip on the pitch and you're trying to win it or at least get a goal back.
That's just tactical, isn't it?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Though.
If you're going to bring on, if he's got the intention of bringing on Lo Celso, the only person that he is really going to take on, well, what he should have done is probably taken off either Højbjerg or Skip, because we're chasing the game. What's the point?
Exactly. That's what I'm
Simple
saying.
Decision.
Or go
at this point, it seems like a lot of these players, for me, don't really seem motivated or don't. It's not. I don't want to say they don't care, but it does feel like that. Because in my opinion, what I would do now is I would just play a lot of these youngsters now. I'm not that fussed anymore. I think that these youngsters will put a lot more effort into this team and bring a lot more energy, which is what we need. I just think that people like at the end of the day, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because we've seen the 11 on Thursday do nothing against Vitesse Arnhem. We've seen the 11 this weekend do nothing on Sunday against West Ham.
You can't play these youngsters in the Premier League, mate. They'll get you in a lot.
Yeah, they'll get alive.
So
it'll ruin their confidence.
What's the kind of action then? Because I don't see how we go forward. Because
coaching and making the right decisions.
But this is the thing. But that means we have to sack the manager then, because he's not doing the right thing. He's not coaching correctly. So at the end of the day, at least with Jose Mourinho, we had two of our best players playing out of their skin. Son and Kane, regardless of the system, regardless of whatever, we're scoring goals. That's not happening now. So the coach has to do something, and the coach isn't doing anything. So where do we go forward? Where is sort of the turnaround going to happen?
For me, when I look at Nuno on the sidelines, regardless of whether I think I've only seen one game where we showed a little bit of passion. I can't remember which game it was now, and he did that kind of like fist pump. Every other time, his arms are folded. So if you're looking for your manager to influence something, at least body language wise is one way of doing it. Show something on the sidelines. Show something that the players can look to the side and think, you know what, the manager's wanting for this, so at least we can put 5% effort more in. It took Romero with that tackle, not even a tackle. It wasn't even like it was a tackle. It was just a look down at him, man, and tell him something. That was, it was really, really bad.
Thing is, I want to give Nuno, I want him to succeed. I want him to be a success, because if he's successful, it means Tottenham is successful. However, how many games we played now?
8. I think we're
8 in the Premier League plus
or
what?
9 games. 9 games.
Nine.
Plus how many in the
3 in Conference League.
But I think we're still fifth. I think we're still fifth at the moment. Depending on what Man United do, which is what this is the crime. We're in fifth. And we've actually had a shocking.
But we've got -4 goal difference, and that's going to be a big factor. That's going to be a big factor.
And the other problem we've got, is we've won 3, lost how many? 6. Oh no,
We've won 5 and lost 4. 1-5, lost 4. Not
Mate,
drawn
that's
any
mid-table.
games.
That's mid-table form. That is.
Drawn one game yet. Are we
haven't
actually
drawn.
ever going to try and draw a game?
I don't want us to draw, Sid. I just want us to win.
Yeah,
I'm
but
fed
one
up
thing-
of. We had this last season where we were losing to mediocre teams in the Premier League.
And we're not
We're now doing the same here. Like, we haven't played apart from Man City. We actually haven't played a good football team this season so far. Yeah, look where we are.
Chelsea.
Apart from Chelsea, sorry. Yeah, I beg your pardon, Chelsea.
And City.
To take Chelsea and City out of the equation,
Yeah.
the rest of the teams
Should be
they shouldn't be
Bang
beating
average.
us.
I know.
Let me come to
This is the problem. This is what's
Let
just
me come to this super chat here from Awesome. Oh, thank you very much for the super chat, Awesome. Why do Tottenham think they can win West Ham? That's so funny. All FC have to be invested in this past 10 years. Tottenham just did something to do nothing 4 months ago. I think it's just basically saying that we haven't done enough in the transfer market. I don't think we've shown enough in terms of competing, if I'm honest with you, because as I said, London derbies, that's the only
How
game
else
which I
are you
would
going to get
imagine.
motivated?
you can't get. Yeah,
You
should
don't
be a
need
football player.
motivating.
should be
Nobody
a
needs
football player.
motivating for a London derby. West Ham,
Especially
Arsenal,
West Ham.
Chelsea.
What happened last
Come
year
on.
with West Ham? Like, I'm sorry, that's what I'm saying. I have no excuses like for anybody today, and this is why I'm slowly beginning. That's why I predicted a loss, because it's becoming the norm for me. Like these performances are becoming normal, and that's why I keep asking this question: what is it going to take to turn it around? Because the manager doesn't seem to be able to turn it around. The players, both sets of, because it seems we have to split the team in half. Both sets of players don't seem motivated. Where is this turnaround going to come? Like this is what I want to know.
It's not. I'm just reading Marlon's comments there about us not deserving to lose, and he is right. I don't think we deserve to lose today, but
we didn't deserve to win.
But we deserve to get sank out of the game today, which is the frustrating thing.
So.
I think we had the better chances than West Ham. Apart from they won by a fluky flick, I say the flick of the leg. We deserve to get sank out of that game. However, we can't. What our problem is we can't turn football matches around when it's going against us. We just don't seem to have the know-how to right. Okay, this isn't working. Let's go to Plan B. I mean, I'd be satisfied.
Fucking Plan A working first. That's
what West Ham did when they went 1-up.
But if Plan A isn't working, we haven't got a Plan B. I'd be happy if our Plan B in the last 10-15 minutes was right. We actually don't technically have a Plan B, but our Plan B is going to be pack the opposition box out, and we're just going to lump it forward and hope. At least there's some form of, well, we can see what they're trying to do. We're just trying to hit it long and hope we get something out of it, but we don't have anything.
I did say a couple of weeks ago, didn't I? Plan B wasn't available. Is he still not available? This is ridiculous, man.
The thing is, we're just sat on the halfway line, 1-0 down.
Make me laugh now. I'm not in a laughing mood. I tell you that.
The main thing for me,
Plan B got a new album coming out.
No, I don't want to talk about any Plan B's. I've had enough. Listen. I'm going to come round to all of you and get your final thoughts. I'm going to start with you, Darius. Give me your final thoughts on today's performance.
On today's performance, I don't really want to talk that much about today's performance because I don't think it was good at all. I think everybody, basically bar Reguilon and Ndombele and Romero, didn't play great. Hotspur and Skip were okay, but it just wasn't good. And for me, like I keep saying, I think a lot of confidence comes in teams from an increased amount of chance creation. I think if you've got a team that's creating 10-15 shots a game, you have much more confidence within yourself to believe that one of those shots are going to go in. But if you're creating on average, what are we averaging? Maybe 9-10 shots a game. You're leaving very, very little room for sort of any error, and you're sort of making your strikers have to be extremely clinical for it to work out. So honestly, I just think that if we can increase our chance creation, and that comes down to the tactics and how we play football, if we can increase our chance creation, it will automatically just sort of increase the confidence and the chances of us getting back into games, because you can't have, it's literally physically impossible. If you have 0 shots on goal, you aren't going to score unless it's an own goal. So
we're gonna have to look at this as a talking points, because I think we can go into this really, really deeply. Just want to get this to Dara. Thank you very much for the super chat, Dara. Skip and Romero played well, bar them, no one else. And I'd say
Tanguy and Reguilon. I think I throw
Ndombele and Reguilon. I throw them in there as well. And I don't think Dyer did anything wrong.
He didn't do bad, no.
And Maurice didn't really do anything wrong either.
But Romero must be thinking, what on earth have I come into this team for? He must be thinking, I've signed for the wrong English football club here. I thought I was signing for someone that is in the top 4.
I'm going to come to Sean next. What's your final thoughts?
A very, very painful day again. And questions about Nuno. Definitely, is is the barometer for Spurs is the derbies. I mean, we have a lot of them, true enough. And if we're losing them as, we were a bit, it was 50-50 today, but the scale of the defeats in the other ones was dreadful. I think that's the barometer for a Spurs fan, is that if we're not competing in London derbies, then something's not right. These players, to me, don't seem to believe in him. I'm starting to think that, and that's a shame, because I think Nuno is a breath of fresh air compared to the previous incumbent. But I think it's not looking good. It's not looking good.
Before I come, you did another super chat here from Awesome Or. No ambition from owners, no passion from players. Tottenham is done. Until you get a new owner, then things can change.
He's probably not wrong as well.
You know what? He's probably not wrong.
It's hard to argue that. It's hard to argue.
You can't really argue that, can you?
You can't.
It's hard to argue anymore.
Sid, I want to come to you next. What's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts. First things first, yeah. Darius, why have you changed to black and white? Is that Newcastle colouring that you're wearing?
It's blue and white. It's blue and white, my friend. It's blue and white. I might start my Magpie channel though, because at least I'll be able to, have a little bit of something to look forward to,
But no, do you know what? We're gonna have these conversations time after time. It's until we get rid of some of these players, until I think Nuno's now becoming out with depth. Daniel Levy now has to sit down. Paratic has disappeared all of a sudden. We don't know what's going on. And January window is going to be massive, right, for us.
Do you think we're going to do anything though, Sid?
This is the problem, isn't it?
There's no if. There has to be.
There's talks that we're looking at certain players, but it keeps changing. I think last time I heard was a defender, then he was a creative midfielder.
But it's not just the players though, Sid. I think that if that manager's in charge, he's got to show more. He's got to show more with the players he's got. We had enough. Remember, we didn't play any of this 11 on Thursday.
And they
None
did
of
play
them.
as well.
None of them played.
Suchek started. Cresswell started.
They worked on the bench. They stayed at home. They watched on TV like we did, and they to put in that performance. That's unforgivable. Surely,
no excuses.
Yeah. But I think, do you know what? We've got Burnley in the cup on Wednesday, and we've got Man United next Saturday. I'm fearing Man United at home next week, and I tell you what, if and we discussed this the other day, didn't we? Put these boys out at home against Vitam. Forget Vitas on them. Next Saturday, we're at home to Man United. And I tell you what.
It's a good job they're doing terrible, isn't it? It's a good job they're doing terrible right now, because that team there, they could do a lot of damage to us, regardless of their form.
And what happens? Dr. Tottenham will see you now. That's what I can fear.
We'll probably win 4-0. We'll probably win 4-0.
Yeah, 100%.
Mike, final thoughts. Sorry, Sid.
No, go on.
Have you finished? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Because I want to go. That's why I want to go. I want to get Mike's final thoughts, and I want to go. I'll be honest with you. I'm not lying. I
don't even know what to say about today. I mean, we shouldn't. I still maintain we shouldn't have lost that game today. Nuno. This is the problem. This is the problem, Sean. We did. We shouldn't be losing these games. This is what's starting to get on my nerves. I think Nuno's got to do something about our attacking display, because it's just non-existent. Like our offensive game is just shocking. We've got a world-class striker. We've got a world-class left winger. We've got Ndombele, who has all the potential in the world to be world-class, but we're not. Whatever tactics Nuno's trying to employ and the training, whatever he's doing on the training ground, it's just not working. It's not, something's not clicking, and I just can't see. Exactly. How long do we go on with this? I don't know. This is it's driving me mad. Like, he's got one of the best. He's got one of the best coaches, young coaches in the country, in that Ian Cathro. I just don't understand how with Nuno's not. Mate, I'm done with Tuesday. I'm done. I'm done. Let's save the next part of our therapy for Tuesday. Mate. It's going to be a talking point, and then we can have this. We can get it out of our system right about now. I just want to go and have a glass of wine and watch Liverpool Man United get turned over. That's all I want to do. Let's take it to next midweek. Go again. Anyway, thank you very much for watching.
really, we all appreciate the super chats. Thank you for all your comments, by the way. That's much appreciated. We know, sometimes we have to come in and rant a bit, and I apologize for doing that. But today, it was almost like the final straw for just seeing the London Derby performance. But look out for our shows coming up. Tuesday, we've got Talking Points. Sid says it. Ask Sid next week, Friday. We've got game against Burnley, so I'm sure we'll do some sort of lineup and review show for that. It's depressing. It is depressing. But let's just go and see if Liverpool can turn.
Come on, you Spurs.
The only thing that can turn this around is if we see Man United get thumped.
Yeah, well, I'm going to hopefully go and watch that now, because that's the only thing that's going to do anything decent for us today.
If they get thumped, you know what's going to happen next Saturday, don't you? So
they'll probably get rid of Ollie.
No, they won't. No, they will. That's one thing I can guarantee. He ain't going nowhere before next week at least.
So. Manager swap them. Nuno for Ollie.
Ollie's worse.
No.
At least we know that. At least we know that.
Imagine Ollie
already.
Not yet, Sean. I'm going to start now, though, mate. Don't you worry about that. Darius, Mike, Sid, and Sean, thank you very much. Let's get off this stream now. Thank you. Thanks to all the viewers. Again, like, subscribe, share, comment. Paxton Road TV. We're trying to bring as much as we can. So, yeah, keep watching, keep supporting. Thank you very much. And bye-bye.